Hi, I'm Amanda Skelton, an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and today I'd like to show you how to make this never-ending card. So it folds flat like this, but then you can open it up and keep folding it over and over and over and over continuously. That's a really nice card, especially as it goes flat as well, so it's really good to post. You just don't want to add too many embellishments to the layers, otherwise it will become quite thick for posting. So I've used the, I don't know if it's called this Seaside Bay Bundle. So this is the bundle, so it's the stamp set and the dies. And the dies have got some lovely elements in it. So I've got a really nice sort of oyster shell here, and crabs and sea sort of grasses and shells, birds, and sort of like you can use this to sort of use as a like a shoreline. So really nice stamp set and dies. So yeah, so this is the stamp set. So we're going to be using this to make this card again. I'm going to use a slightly different colourway today. I'm going to use Coastal Cabana, and this is because it is using the by the Bay designer series papers. So these papers are gorgeous, and hopefully that catches the light. So you've got gold on some of them, so all of it, one side will always have some sort of pearlized, so I don't know, it's gold pearlized there, so I don't know if you can catch the shine on these designs. They're beautiful. That's quite a Art Deco sort of style, sort of like waves, sort of water, and that's got gold on it. That's really, really pretty as well. It goes really nice with this paper we're going to use. And then again, quite Art Deco. And of course, they've all got two sides. So again, these are quite good as well to complement. These two are really good for sort of seaside type. And that one's really good for seaside as well, and waves. So yeah, so really, really nice papers. There is another piece of the patterned paper, which is this one here. I've used it so much that I haven't actually got another sheet left to show you, but this is one of the other designs as well, which is lovely. Okay, so what do we need now? It looks quite complicated, but actually the base itself is actually quite simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place this like this and explain to you. So I'll put the dimensions on in a minute, but I'm just going to explain to you. So you need two pieces of coloured card that measure 5.5 inches by 4 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and then we need to score them and cut them each in half to do this. So let me just move those out the way, and I'm just going to put the measurements down for you. So these are the measurements for the base. So as I said, it's two pieces of 5.5 by 4 1/8, and you need to score at the long edges at 1 1/16 on both edges, and then you want to cut it in half at 2 3/4 of an inch. And then the second piece you want to score on the short edges at 1 3/8 of an inch, and you want to cut that in half across the sort of long edge, I suppose, at 2 1/16 of an inch. So this also needs a lot of small pieces of sort of patterned paper, and so I'll leave that there for you. I've set it into 4 sections so you can see how they work. So for example, section 1 is this, and then basically working as we go through 3, and that's the 4th. Okay, so I'll just leave that there for you to have a look at those. Okay, so that's what we need there. By these DSPs, you don't have to be rigid about this. DSP here has to be the same as this paper here. I've just done it just to show that you want a contrast of different patterns. Have a look at what colour card you're using, have a look at what patterns your papers are, and then get pieces to alternate. And so for example, you know, you want to know that they're going to go together, so just choose pieces that go together as you see you want them to. Okay, So let's get that out of the way. Excuse me. So, as I said, we've got 2 pieces. So these have got the score down the right-hand side and left-hand side. And then this was the other piece that we had, which we cut in half. And we're going to place those either side, a little bit like a window and 2 sort of shutters, I suppose. So these have got the score lines coming down, and these 2 edge pieces have got the scores going across. So what you need to do is just line them up roughly to the edges, and just use a pencil, and on the inside pieces where this score line is, just draw a rough line roughly where the score mark is on the outside edge, but mark it on the pieces there. So you've got these 4 marked here. So these 4 sections are where we're going to apply glue. So I would suggest you use something like tearing tape or the red sort of permanent tape, because you want it to be secure. And the reason I've put these lines is so we don't make sure that we don't add glue onto any other sections, otherwise it's going to stop the card from folding around. Okay, so you can put all your pieces of glue, your tape on your 4 corners. You don't even need to worry about taking your pencil marks off, because it's going to be part of the fold, so you're not going to even notice. Okay, last piece. There you go. Okay, it doesn't have to be up to the edges or anything, but so long as it doesn't go outside of the edges, and that's fine. Okay, so it doesn't matter. I'd start at probably one of the top corners. I'm going to start on this one, and I'm just going to take the protective film off of one section at the top. I'm going to keep this here so it doesn't stick to anything while we just get the first one lined up. Okay, and then what you want to do is you just want to pick that up and place it on top of it so that it's in line. And if you keep this one here in line as well, it will just help you to guide. So I'm going to place that one there. Again, if you hold it at 45 degrees angles, it won't stick straight down to the glue. So try and get it into position first. Make sure your top lines up, and make sure your right hand side lines up as well. So that looks about right there. And then just give that a push down there. Okay. So that one's done. And then what you can do now is you can take the glue off of the bottom piece. She says, not knowing how to get the tape off. Come on. Okay. Okay. And then what you want to do is you want to slide that piece down. Don't want to get absolutely really tight to that one, but pretty much a little bit of a gap between it. Make sure your edges are in line, and then again just give that a good push down. So that is stuck now. So now you can do the same the other side. Again, I would do it a section at a time. Again, now it's all in line, so push that down. And you need to get underneath it because obviously it's all attached now. But you can just get under there and then again press that down. Okay. Now I've made this card probably about 4 or 5 times now, and I've never made it without having to trim some off, but I'll explain to what. So in fact I can even see if you can hear it like that, then it's too close, but that's fine. We can trim it off in a minute. Okay, so you've got your card like this. So what you want to do is you want to, so if you can see on the back you've got score marks. So what we're going to be doing is folding it so that these folds become Yeah, so folding it like that. So we're going to be folding into this score mark. Okay. And again, that is too much, so we're going to take some off of there. Okay, so I'm going to do that now, because otherwise it starts catching. So what you want to do, so this is a bit too tight, for example, so that edge, I'm just going to take a tiny slither off. And it doesn't matter if you take it off the left or the right, you can try and keep it even if you want. There you go, that's better. So now, so I've opened it up. I know that's too tight, so I'm going to take a little bit off of it. So those are the edges that are catching, so those are the edges I'm going to trim a little bit off of. Remember, you've got 2 layers here, so make sure that you cut both layers. Get through both. Okay, there you go. So you can see that now doesn't go at all. I'll probably need that again in a minute. Okay, so that's how we started. We folded that back, and that now goes. Now we've got folds at the top and at the bottom. So we're now going to fold into those. Okay, so this is the score line down here. We're now going to fold into those. Okay, and again, slightly overlapping. And you'll never notice once you actually put it all together that you've trimmed any of this. But it, you know, you need it to flow nicely. So again, that's the edges that catch. So that's the edge. Again, I might have even 3 layers here. So again, just make sure you go through enough times. Right, so where do we get to? There you go, so that's okay now. So now you should have a never-ending card, and it should flow nicely. It doesn't matter if you've got gaps in between. Okay, so none of that should now catch. Ooh, okay, so that is your card base ready to go. Okay, so I have actually cut down all of my pieces already. So you want to get back to the start, which is sometimes quite difficult. Basically where you've got the 2 full panels down either side. Now if you've got directional paper, then make sure that it's the right direction. So work out what direction you want your piece to be in. Okay, I have pre-cut these, and I've die cut some of the embellishments as well. So I've cut these from 2 strips, and they are contiguous. So if you're that way inclined and you want to make sure that it's contiguous, then make sure that you keep them together. What I did, because I did these as workshops and I had many of these kits to do, in order to keep the sections together, what I did was I created like a little concertina file, and I basically put the pieces into each of these sections. Just put a bit of masking tape or a bit of washi tape either side, and I just did that so that each section was the pieces, because some of them can be quite small like this. So it just helps to keep all the pieces together, so that's quite a good way. Or if you're going to cut them and obviously make the card, then just make sure you keep all your sections together. So now we pretty much want to start putting it together. So what you want to do as well is just make sure before you stick any of your pieces that they all fit on, because we've trimmed a little piece down now. There is a lot of margin allowance on the pieces of patterned paper, so you should be okay on most of it. But what you need to do is make sure that you don't go over any of the score marks, because they're going to be the folds, and if you go over it, it's going to stop the mechanism working quite so easily. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure I place these on the section. I'm just making sure. Okay, so mine are contiguous going upwards, and they're also going to be contiguous going side by side as well. I was just making sure that was the right way up. Make sure it was. Oops. So the most effort needed on this one is actually to probably stick all the panels together. Okay. Again, just try and line them up with each other so that they're in line. Again, line them left and right and top and bottom so that it looks good to the eye. And this colour, by the way, that I'm using is Coastal Cabana. It's one of the really nice colours that match the papers. Another colour that goes really nicely is Night of Navy. And another one is Calypso Coral. And I think there's a bit of Blushing Bride in there as well. So those are colours that go really nicely with it. Okay, so I'm going to keep this one. I put quite a lot of detail on here just to show the different things. So some of these are stamped images and then die cut. These are just die cut, but look at the detail on these die cuts. So it die cuts and it embosses at the same time, which are really nice. So I'm going to keep this one quite simple. And I'm going to put a piece of, again, when you're adding all your embellishments, again, please avoid all the joins and the folding areas. So I think I'm just going to do something like that. And so I've actually die cut these out of the DSP just to add a bit of detail. So I think that's what I'm going to do on that one. Just a bit of glue at the bottom, so I don't mind if the top bits are loose because it makes it a little bit of movement. I'll put that one on there. And like I say, don't add too many layers, because you've already got quite a lot of layers with the amount of panels you've got. Okay, so I'm going to just keep that quite simple on the front. So now we're going to open up to the next section. So this is where I'm going to put the sentiment, because when you stand it up, it will stand like that. So you'll see the sentiment there. And then we've got this lovely detail here. So this is one die, and you can see again that it is embossed, which is beautiful. And then what you do is you've got two fold marks here, and you see that folds like that. And it just makes it a little shell that you can open and close. And I've done that in there, and it reveals a little pearl. So these are the gorgeous flat adhesive black backed pearls. You get small pearls and largest pearls. I've just put a small one in here, but it's just really lovely. It's sort of like sort of iridescent. It's just gorgeous, the colours that it reflects. So actually it tends to reflect the colour that it's around, and when I show you the other cards I've made with this, you'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, so first of all we need to add our panels. So we need to open it up, and we've got two panels here we need to decorate. So again, I've pre-cut them, and I've got two pieces here. Again, they're contiguous, and this is where you just want to make sure that again your pieces fit on. Oh, that's the pattern of the paper that I couldn't show you the full sheet of just now because I've used the other side of it. So that goes up there. So again, just centre it on your panel. Again, making it contiguous. So okay, so that is the way up I'm having it. So try and work the way that the way that it's up. Okay, so that's going to be that. So I'm going to have my sentiment up there. Again, I'm going to put it flat because I don't want to add bulk when it's closing. So I'm just going to put that there, and then I'm just going to stick the back half of the oyster shell, and I'm going to put it there again. Make sure it doesn't go over the lines, otherwise you won't be able to fold it. And then I'm going to add a beautiful little pearl. Actually, I even wonder if I can put a big one in here. So that's quite a nice little detail. So it'll be like that to start with, and then they'll open it up and it will reveal that, which is quite nice. So if you want to fold it down a little bit more, it'll just help to keep it down. Okay, so that's the second section we've done. Now we're going to fold that one up and down, and that's going to reveal 2 larger panels and 4 smaller panels. So again, I've got my pieces here, and again I've made them contiguous. Right, so I've got 2 pieces there, 2 pieces there. Okay, and again, just make sure your panels fit before you stick anything, because you can always trim it down if you need to. But like I said, there is a generous allowance on the pieces, so they should fit. Just make sure it's the right way up. Okay, and then again make sure that your other panels fit on, which they do. Top 2 pieces, you can decorate this as much as you want to, but because the paper is so pretty, you actually don't need to do an awful lot. The paper will do most of the work for you. And there you go. Okay, so that's your 3rd panel. And then the 4th panel, so this will be the last panel. So there's a piece of white card, there's a piece of patterned paper, and then there's 4 small sections as well. So 4 outside long pieces, and then 2 in the middle. So again, if it's directional, so what I would do is make sure, so that's the back, what I'd make sure is when it's, so if you've got it open and it's on display like that, I would make sure that that is the way up that you have it to display, because once you fold it in and out, that can be, as you can see, that's upside down now. So you've got to just make sure, think about it, so think about, make sure that it's the right way up. So I've done that, so that's the right way up for me. So 1 piece I'm going to put as a pattern piece, and again I can see that's too wide because it's wider than the panels, and it means it won't fold, and that's probably the same. So I'm just going to trim those 2 off. It just needs a little bit on the width of it. Just want to make sure it fits between them, which it does now. And again on this piece. There you go. So it doesn't take much, and just make sure these ones fit, which they do. Okay, so I've used this stamp just to add a bit of detail onto the white. So this is where you can write your sentiment. like on there. So that's the back of your card. And again, that's what, I mean, it could be the top. It doesn't have to be the bottom, but that's how I've decided I want to do it. So that's why I just want to make sure it is the right way up. But you want to stamp that before you attach it to the card. And then, is there a white? There isn't really a right way up of that, really, to be honest. It goes always. Oh, and what I did for this, I was just showing you this. So this is Coastal Cabana. So I did the ink to start with, and that is straight off of inking up the stamp. But I decided it was too dark. I wanted it to be paler, which is more in keeping with the card. So I just stamped it off once and I made it lighter. So I just wanted to show you that you've got that option available to you. And obviously you can use whatever colour you like. You can pick out any of the colours in the paper. Okay. And then last two panels. And then we're about done. Yeah, so it's just a case of like seeing the colours that you've got in your papers and then just contrast them. Ooh. Very straight. That's better. More that piece there. But again, you can mess about with them as you desire. Sometimes it's difficult to see what was the top and the bottom right side. So there you have it. And what I did was I printed off, or I die cut another one of these, and I'm just going to add that onto the bottom. So they've got a bit more detail here. Might even, no, I'm going to add it there. There you go. So when you open it again, I've gone back to front now, haven't I? Yes, that way. There you go. So there you have it. So when you open it up, you've got your sentiment and your nice little shell, and you've got those papers. Open up again, you've got contrasting papers. Open up again. So this is where it looks upside down, because you need to do that to open it up, and then it's on the right side. Okay, so there we have it. Let me just show you a couple of other cards that I've made with the same set, because it's really versatile. So good for mail cards. So I made these two, really easy to make. And this, I don't know if you can see the detail, beautiful embossing folder. So this is the Seashells 3D embossing folder, beautiful. I mean, that's, again, you can use that instead of having some patterned paper on the back. So that is really nice. So I've used that on both of those. And then I did this card, which again is using the lovely paper. And again, used the pearl. I die cut one of these, and I just took the back half of it, cut it along the middle where it joins. I've edged it with a bit of ink, and that's become my sentiment. So that's like a shell-shaped sentiment, which is really nice. Again, I've used the embossing folder, which is beautiful. And then here, I've used it again, and I've just done a little bit of blending behind here. Can you see how pink that, or that, how orange that is reflecting, and how blue that is reflecting? Exactly the same gems, but just a different way that it's reflecting the inks around it. So I hope you've enjoyed looking at that. So yeah, so that is the By the Bay, is it By the Bay? Bayside suite that I've used. Really, really nice, really versatile, like I said, really good for mail cards. And if you order £45 worth of products before the end of February 2023, then you've also got a celebration event going on at the moment. So for any order over £45, you can also choose some free products from the celebration catalogue. So here you've got your freebies to use. So you've got some lovely owls, which I've done here and here. So really nice cards with these freebies. And yeah, so you've got all sorts of things that you can use. Lovely papers, which I'm using in a different projects. Excuse me. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Like I said, it looks complex, but actually once you've got the base card cut and all the pieces to embellish it with, it's actually quite easy. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I shall see you again next time. As always, my details, you can find the products on www.amandascraftedcards.stampinup.net. I am on YouTube as Amanda's Crafted Cards and on Facebook, so you can contact me if you need any answers or any questions answering, and or any information on products. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I shall see you again soon. Take care. Bye.